YouTube, what is good? Chris with Jerno's Comics and Pop Culture, fresh off of Endgame, guys. And as you could probably tell from the title of this video, I'm going to break Endgame down in a way that proves why Iron Man is and will always be the most epic and greatest film of the MCU. Now, let me just go into Endgame, guys, and there will be some spoilers. If you haven't seen it, pause this, come back after you do. But man, I'm kind of numb in a good way, full of emotions, man. And wow, what a ride. So this film, let me just kind of talk about what I felt of Endgame first and foremost. I just thought it was almost perfectly done. In you come off of Infinity War, probably expecting so much. I know I did. So you go into this movie, and obviously you come off right after Infinity War, and they went into that extremely well. And but I didn't expect the way that it turned, how they killed Thanos, and then it was like there was nothing they can do, and then 5 years passed. I love how they did that. I love the 5 year gap in between, and then a lot of things that I kind of expected with the time travel and whatnot. And I don't think that this movie had any real slow parts. It didn't seem like 3 hours to me. And oh, by the way, as I'm filming this, it's already crossed over 1 billion worldwide, and I believe before closing weekend, somebody commented on one of my posts, and I went and checked. It is over 350 million domestically, and if you guys watched my video, before when I made predictions about this film, I predicted that this movie would hit 1 billion worldwide and hit about 400 million domestically. So my numbers are pretty much real close there, but oh my gosh, going back into this movie, man, so many unexpected things. I just felt the way that they brought all the characters in together again, some epic moments for me. I love, first off, when Cap went back, and when they were trying to get the Tesseract in the 70s, and he saw Peggy, and it just, I knew at the moment that they thought about being able to go back in time, I had a feeling that Cap was going to find a way to stay and be with her. And of course, as we saw in the end, that's what happened. And man, that tugs at my heart. And then, of course, another epic moment was when, Hulk got the gauntlet and snapped. And one by one, we start seeing our characters come back, as Doctor Strange lets them in through the portals. And that was just amazing. That whole freaking sequence was just epic. And again, I mean, I felt like looking at Infinity War, how they brought all the characters together, but they were still in pieces. Tony and Spider-Man and half of the Guardians did their thing on Titan, and then we had Cap and Bucky and Black Panther and Scarlet Witch and Scarlett Johansson, Black Widow, kind of doing their thing. And so they never met up, and we never saw Cap and Tony meet up even since Civil War, and they finally meet up, and we see that kind of tension. And then finally, after the 5 years, when they have this big plan, it comes together. And then this isn't for this video. I'll make another video discussing the Captain Marvel thing, but I loved, everyone was like, oh, Captain Marvel's gonna come in and she's going to be the one to beat Thanos. And so many people were mad at that. I'm not even going into that. But I like how they used her in this. They didn't overuse her. She did her thing, and ironically, she wasn't the one that beat Thanos. And I like how they did that. And oh man, dude, I'm sorry, man. If you did not cry in this movie, I'm a grown man, and I let my grown man be shown, because I cried, man. And I was sitting next to these, like, some young punks sitting next to me, they were like, oh God, like at everything. I'm like, y'all know that you're sitting there choking up in the back of your throat, but you just think you're too cool. It just shows that you ain't a man yet. Because my man tears were coming down, and man, freaking Tony, man, like I am real emotional right now because both my favorite characters, obviously Chris Evans and Robert Downey Jr., and what they've done for these 11 years in for this masterpiece to close, and to have Tony be the one that defeats Thanos and then sacrifices himself. Wow, dude. And I'm getting chills just sitting about it. And I thought the send off was awesome. And they put, his the piece that Pepper framed saying proof that Tony has a heart, and they put it on the flower bouquet and floated out into the water, man. Like, wow, man. Like, I can't imagine. A part of me is broken, because I can't imagine the MCU without these two not characters, but these actors, Robert Downey Jr. and Chris Evans, man. Like, I'm heartbroken. I don't know what it's gonna be like, and I have faith in Marvel Studios. I have faith in Kevin Feige, and I know that this was like I'm not mad. It really, and let me get into this. This is why I'm saying that Iron Man will always be the greatest movie of all time of the MCU. And I'm not mad about this, but it's just, it's so bittersweet. You know what I'm saying? And, the way that Cap came back as old man Cap and handed the shield to Sam. Yeah, and now don't get me wrong, like I am looking forward to what Sam's gonna do, but it's never gonna be, even in the comic books. I mean, you can enjoy like Sam Wilson as Captain America. You could have enjoyed, Bucky, Winter Soldier as Captain America, but nobody's ever Steve Rogers. That's just plain and simple. I give props to Anthony Mackie though for what he's done is in his role as Sam. I have faith in what he's going to do moving forward. Because I even questioned when they said Chris Evans was going to play Cap. I was like, really? Like, I don't know. That just doesn't feel right. I knew him as this funny actor. I saw him as a Human Torch, which he did a great job at, but it wasn't Steve Rogers. It was the Human Torch, right? So he did both of them great, and he came and took the role of Cap, and boy. And now I'm here like, wow, dude. So I want to just go watch all these movies again because it's like we're never going to see him again. And Robert Downey Jr., man, he just got like that $50 million payday a couple years ago, and I think for Infinity War. And man, like, I just feel like there was so much more that they still could have done. But hey, this was just what a send off. And now let me get to my point, guys. Let me get to my point. When we did, I think it was after Infinity War. I know I came on here and talked about my favorite MCU movies. Maybe I'll do a video making a whole list. But I know I've shared on social media my favorite movies ranked. And even after Infinity War, guys, I still placed Iron Man number 1 at number 1. And I think Infinity War, and Winter Soldier and Black Panther are up there in like my top 4. So, and then I think Guardians is like 5, the volume 1. And then Spider-Man. But that's a whole nother, let's move on. Guys, Iron Man number 1. When we watched Endgame, when we watched this film, and we see Tony breathing his last breath after what had happened, it brings you back. And for those that watch this film all the way through the end, because there's no end credit, but what there was the sound. If you guys heard that, I don't know if I can mimic the sound very well, but that was Tony in the cave making his Iron Man suit. And Yeah. Iron Man #1 is the greatest masterpiece of this universe because we came full circle from that. That movie set all this up. These 11 years. What an 11 years, guys. I mean, again, I'm getting chills just talking about this, guys. Like, I know, like, I wasn't alive for Star Wars. I was alive for the Return of the Jedi, but not to remember it. I don't remember it in the movie theaters. I don't even know if my mom took me. I was a baby. Um, so I wasn't there for that, for a trilogy that was so epic. Obviously, you know, how do we even say that in terms of the cinematic greatness that there will be any cinematic universe greater than Star Wars? Now, obviously, Star Wars has expanded beyond the cinemas. And is a much more expanded universe with comic books and books and so forth. TV shows and cartoons. But, you know, we know that the Marvel Cinematic Universe came from the comic books first and all this stuff. But Marvel Studios has done such an amazing job with making this universe its own thing, in its own entity, that I really look back on these 11 years. And Star Wars is the only thing that I'm trying to battle myself to compare it to. But even these 11 years have done so much more in its own way than maybe even what Star Wars has done. Excuse me, guys. And I don't know if we can ever compare it. So let's move on from that and just focus on this. These 11 years, I don't think will ever be done again by Marvel themselves, by a DCEU trying to, you know, do their own thing, or by any other franchise. I don't know. You know, I mean, history is hopefully long in the future and will go long past me and you guys. But this 11 years was just insane in how they did this and how they brought it all together. And this really was the end game. And it brought everything full circle. And it speaks volumes to how this universe was set up. It really does. And I think if you all, whether you agree with me or not, take a look back on where you were at when you first saw Iron Man and what it meant to you then. But then tell me if you could imagine that it would have been brought, if you could have imagined where it would have been brought to, where we are at today. So wow, guys. Iron Man in itself as a standalone film at its time did something that superhero movies never did before, and was an amazing standalone film. But to add to that, it is the heart of these chapters that are now closed, of this great saga that is now closed. It just, as Tony, it's all you know, symbolic. Just as Tony's heart was the heart of the Avengers, just as Tony was the heart of the Avengers, Iron Man was the pillar that, you know, allowed them to come together and assemble. Just as Robert Downey Jr., his story as a human being, you know, as Robert, not as Tony, to come into this role and to have done what he did with it. I'm sorry, there's just everything that was Iron Man made this all happen. So, and as I'm sitting here wearing my Cap gear and, you know, got the Cap thing on the back, because, you know, and Chris Evans, man, Chris Evans is freaking dear to my heart now too. You know, it's like, and I've always been a Cap guy. I will have to say that Cap comes in a close second for me with this one, because yeah, if not for Robert Downey Jr., if not for Iron Man, none of this would have happened. And I'm gonna sit here with my feet in the ground and state, for the rest of my days, from what's happened now, from what will happen in the future, there will never be a greater epic of this Marvel Cinematic Universe saga is Iron Man 1. And with that said, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed the movie. Please leave me some comments about what you guys thought of it. God, I'm such like a little baby right now, guys. You know, let me just, for final thoughts, guys, before I end this, let me say one more thing. And I talk about this a lot. You know, I got into it with people that perpetuate negativity on YouTube all the time and yap about freaking, you know, this and that, and just spew their hatred. And I'm all about comic books being, you know, the kid hobby that has saved my life. And I've shared that story. And I can truly say that the way that the MCU in this whole saga has touched my life as an adult is something that I can't even put into words. You know, and as an adult, I've faced hardships, and you know, we want those escapes. And, you know, this is more than silly kid stuff. It really is. And I think most of you watching understand that. But the thing, too, is that it's done so much for these kids and for the next generation. So let me just say that, you know, I'm sitting here emotional because it's bigger than entertainment. It's bigger than pop culture. You know, it's bigger than comic books. These are stories of, you know, epic portions of wonder and imagination that speak to our soul and our time here in this universe. And they give us hope to dream beyond our wildest dreams. So with that said, guys, thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't done so. Let's talk, let's discuss, let's keep it peaceful and friendly. And until next time, guys,